Hey guys, good afternoon. Welcome back to my page, Lukumí en Espiritual. Today I want to talk about the Odi Unle 7-8, where like always, I always say the Orishas that speak and who we gotta thank in this Odu. And to begin with, it's Elegua, Yemaya, Chango, Obatala, Enle, and Orisha Oko. And there's another Orisha that's born in this Odu that many people may not know about, but it's 7-8. It's Irawo. All right, Irawo. This is the Orisha that's responsible for the stars, the celestial stars, the positions of the stars, like the horoscopes and planetary alignments. This is the Orisha that's in charge of that. What's born in this Odu also is the 7 African powers, which I'm going to explain a little bit in a minute, and also communication. Communication, long distance communication, because this is where the Lukumis were at war and they were using the drums, because also the drums are born in this Odu. And they were using the drums to communicate with the other people, the other Lukumise, so they can inform everybody else that the enemies were close. Depending on the pattern of the beating of the drum, they knew what was happening. So the system of communication was born in this Odu. So this is why it's also important to have a tambor for the Orisha that gives you this Odu, because a tambor is how the Orishas won, the Lukumi won the war. So for you to be going through something very serious, or going through a problem, or going through a war, a tambor is called for to help you resolve the problem. But this is, like I said, if it's a serious problem, if it's something that really is going on. But at the same time, if you have a form of showing appreciation or gratitude for something, the tambor is also a great way how to do it for the Orisha that gave you the Odu. Now, the 7 African powers is born in this Odu. Now, people seem to think, because they seen the picture of the 7 African powers, the spiritual version of it, where you see like different Catholic saints, and it has like, Olofi, Obatala, Orula, Ochun. Yes, that's nice, but in actuality, 7-8 Odi Unle is actually the 7 African powers, but not what we think. The 7 African powers is actually the Odu of where the 7 tribes, the most prominent, powerful tribes, all came over on a slave ship, and got to Cuba, and they were forced to work with each other because these tribes were enemies. They were not getting along. They did not talk to each other back in Africa, but when they got to Cuba, they were forced to survive. To be able to get through the situations that were going through, they had to get together, and that is where the 7 African powers are born. So what is said that you have to actually get 7 different forms, 7 different statues, with one being the biggest statue that will represent the head spirit that is in, like they say, in command or control of those other 6 African power energies. How do you do that? You will have to do a misa investigación. Now, this is not just a regular misa. This misa actually has to be, and it tends to be expensive. So if you're going to do it, and if you want to do it right, it's going to be a little bit pricey, because you're going to have to get 7 different spiritistas to come to your home, where you will sit in the middle. Okay, this is not a big open thing where everybody's going to get no, this is where you're going to sit in the middle, and they're going to do a misa investigación based on your energy and your spirits. So you have to get 7 different espiritistas where they are supposed to be talking to you, telling you different things, because they're supposed to represent those 7 tribes that come to give you to give you prosperity, to give you health, to relieve you all type of problems that you might be going through in life. Now, this is completely different. This is something like, some people do, some people don't. And this Odu, Odi only, they tell you to get a second bóveda. Now, this bóveda is going to be different from the bóveda that you have for your ancestors, the one that we start with. This is a bóveda that's dedicated to those 7 African spirits, because you're supposed to get a statue. The biggest statue is supposed to represent the main spirit, and then you get 6 smaller ones in size order, how they present themselves and how they introduce themselves to that cordon. Now, a lot of people say you're not supposed to have more than one belbara. Or listen, again, you have to listen to how your elder or the ordiate explains it to you. But for me and my line in my house, you can have more than one bóveda in the house, and that's a totally different video. We're not going to touch on that. But in this Odu, you are told to come and get another bóveda that's going to be dedicated to those spirits. It also says in this Odu not to abandon your obligations. What does that mean? It means basically that you have to stay with what you plan. You cannot go there and be like, well, let me start this today, let me start that tomorrow, leaving things half-assed, because you're never going to get nothing done. And this Odu is also said, if it's an Ita of the Yahweh, they're saying that this individual is going to become very sought out. It's going to be somebody that people are going to look for. It's going to be some people that they're going to look, because they're supposed to become big people. They're supposed to become, like, let's say, even famous people. But now, hold on, it doesn't mean you're going to sit there and just wait for the fame to come. You're going to sit there and wait for people to come knocking at your door, because you're going to be sought out, because you have a special thing of intelligence or special tongue that you can communicate things, and people are going to be drawn to you. But it means you have to study, you have to practice, you have to be in line with the things. You cannot just start something and then leave it half-assed and think it's going to work, because it doesn't work like that. In this Odu also, it's said that love is born and love dies, and it's a repeated cycle. So it's something that a lot of people don't know how to accept. There's a lot of things that a lot of people don't know how to interpret that. But from my interpretation, my understanding is that, yes, you're going to have a little bit of a problem of going through things, because in 7-8, love is born and love does die. In the reverse of it, in 8-7, they say marriage is born and marriage dies. So just, I have to understand, guys, that you're going to have to really work eternally, so you cannot go through that special cycle if you really want a relationship. But understand that they're telling you love is born, love is born and love dies. It's basically letting you know that you're going to have to constantly know what is it that you want when it comes to life, because you could be interested in 1 minute and then not want the person the next, and that's kind of sucky. Also, you have to learn how to be more reserved about your plans. You can't be out there spitting out everything you want to do, because if you start telling people your plans, it's not going to come through. So you got to learn how to, like, stay quiet and let them see the results, and don't tell them the pre-attack or whatever. You show them how, when you start progressing and you start succeeding in life, and you let the things work out. Now, another thing is, with this Odu, you're going to have to learn how to start writing things down, because people tend to forget things in this Odu. You start forgetting things. You start forgetting why I go into this room for, or what did I have to do today. So just to keep a mental note and keep you, like, sharp, always write stuff down. Maybe, put the date down, what you have to do, like number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, so you know that you get the things done, because this is also about reputation. So you don't want to be saying that you're going to tell somebody you're going to do something and then you totally forget, because they're not going to take you seriously then. Real quick, also in this Odu, I forgot, osteoporosis, I can't even say it right, but it's bone problems. Bone problems are also born in this Odu. Now, because of that, as I always do lately in these Odus, I always give you the recommendations and options that you have if you want to do the energies with the Odu and its crystals. Now, again, this is only an option, and I'm going to give you based on my interpretation and what the crystals mean, because of my studies and my expertise. But one of the things I definitely recommend is white howlite. White howlite is a good crystal, a good mineral that helps with bone health. And again, remember, because you develop bone problems, it can help you so it won't get very bad or deteriorate. Sunstone and Moonstone, because of the fact that 7-8 is where astrology is born, and the phases of the moon and the phases of the stars and all this stuff, those two stones put together and combined together and work together can help you. So if you're into doing like astrological charts and stuff like that, those are 2 recommendations that I do suggest. Also, you have to follow your horoscopes, keep on top of your horoscopes so you can understand it. Keep a moonstone and a sunstone there always. Blue crystals, because of communication. Blue crystals are good for the throat chakra to help you communicate. So that is Lapis Lazuli, blue Aventurine, Sodalite, blue amber. So if you have that passion to be a presentation, to present things to people, or you talk a lot in front of people, and you have this Odu, blue crystals, like I said, blue Aventurine, blue quartz, blue Sodalite, and Lapis Lazuli are very good. And blue Lapis Lazuli is very good also because it deals with the night sky and the stars and all that other stuff. It's a very spiritual stone. So like always, from Lukumiwe and Espiritual, if you have any questions, any issues, or any concerns, you can always give me a message and I will gladly answer them. And if you are interested in purchasing any of these crystals that I did recommend with this Odu, you can also send me a message and I will show you how we can get it together and send them out to you. And always from Lukumiwe and Espiritual, God bless. Have a great afternoon, and don't forget to like and share this content.